Well, we can't not talk about Rishi Sunak's unexpected speech on welfare. And I'm going to talk about one of the things that he said, which we knew was going to happen fairly soon, which was an increase in the administrative earnings threshold.
Okay, so the administrative earnings threshold is an amount of earnings from employment that if you earn that amount or more in a month, you're not expected to look for work in exchange for your universal credit. Those who are earning under the new threshold will find themselves expected to look for work, and if they don't, they could be sanctioned.
But the way that it'll work, it will affect you from the assessment period that starts on or after the 13th of May. That's when you'll have to reach the new administrative earnings threshold. It also can't affect you until your claimant commitment has been changed. So your claimant commitment has to be updated to reflect the fact that you're now required to look for more hours or pay.
They base them on the national minimum wage and a certain number of hours, but sometimes it's easier. I think it's easier to think of them as the actual amount, rather than amount of hours, because some people might not be earning the national minimum wage.
So just to give you the figures as well, it's 892 in net earnings if you're seeking to rely on your own earnings alone, and if you have a partner and you can use your partner's earnings to reach the threshold, it's 1,437. And also a reminder that it is employed earnings only. You can't use self-employed earnings to meet this. It affects people who are in the all work related requirements group. So if you don't have to look for work because you care of a disabled person, you have limited capability for work, this doesn't affect you.
So in terms of the claimant commitment, are you saying then it will affect people from the assessment period that starts on or after the 13th of May, but only if they've been called in to have the claimant commitment looked at?
So once their claimant commitment changes in the assessment period in which it changes, and that's based on 18 hours minimum wage, 29 hours for the couple rate.
There's several things I'm worried about here. One is that usually when people are part-time, there are reasons for that. And they've got good reasons, or they haven't looked for more work or tried to find higher paying jobs. There's not a lot of evidence that this in-work conditionality actually helps people. My other concern about it is it could be imposed inappropriately, and I've already had one case where a work coach said, "Oh, you've got to look for more work now," when it hasn't even come in yet.
I'm sure from the government's point of view, they think this is all very reasonable because of help with childcare costs, etc. But we know that in practice, getting that help really difficult. Getting childcare in place that meets your requirements really, really difficult. So I think this is going to cause a lot of worry for people, especially parents.
The same threshold applies no matter what age. It doesn't differ according to age in the regulations. So a young person would have to work more hours than the 15 hours that it's currently set at to achieve that. And one of my colleagues has identified that could be really difficult for vulnerable groups such as care leavers.
It's a good point, Sarah. It doesn't reflect real life, does it? In terms of, like you say, in terms of the number of hours, it will disproportionately impact those younger people.
And also to say that if you feel it's unreasonable because of your particular circumstances, maybe you're a carer, but you still have to look for work because the person you care for isn't yet on a disability benefit, something like that, to say so, because your work coach has quite a lot of discretion to lift the requirement to look for work, to make it a lower number of hours that is your own personal threshold, or even to suspend it completely